Hey, bud.
Yo, dude. How you doing, man?
Not bad. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty good. Not bad either.
Good. What's up?
What's up, dude? I'm ready to do some coaching. I I see you've linked me a few replays. I haven't really had the chance to read them though.
Oh, of course.
What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I just sent them to you now. So I got so I had a big hit at the beginning of the season. I guess I don't know if it's a map pool, a combination of things. Terran used to be my best matchup. Now it's my worst. So I fought my way back up to Diamond 1, and then I just hopped over to EU and then got Diamond 1 on EU. And Zerg's my best match over there, then Toss, then Terran on NA. Right now I got Toss being my best, then Zerg, then Terran. How I'm feeling about the game is I think I'm at a point where I don't know, I'm kind of lost with like mid game. Like
Yeah.
I'm not really having like at this I hit this and this. It's not.
Yeah. Your
If you can
sequences
hear
are
my
kind of.
snapping.
Yeah, I can hear it. Your synapses are not firing once you get past the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Once some harass starts, especially the Liberator comes in, 4 Hellions going, like that's. So I have a set build that I do against BC into BC into Mech, and that was one of the replays just to show you kind of how I've been playing that,
Okay.
and maybe if I can play it better. And that maybe that build only works while I'm in diming, but it's just like get the 8 to 10 corruptors out, and then just flood the roach button, and then hit him as hard as I can around between 8 and 9 minutes when he doesn't have much. So it's kind of like I'm not going for late game first mech because I can't.
Okay.
I can't really deal with it.
Sure. We can just get. I guess. I mean, we can go into some specific. We can do something specific. There's like a couple ways we can do this right now since we only have an hour. I guess
Yeah.
like.
Well,
There.
a great thing. One more thing. I signed up for Patreon.
Yeah.
So like my goal is masters.
Yeah.
So if a starting place on what I should be practicing on for the next month between now and our next coaching session. So.
Yeah. No, it sounds good.
That's my idea.
Yeah, we can. Well, I mean, we're gonna do more in the future for sure with the Patreon thing. But
Yeah.
my thoughts were we could do all matchups today, or like mostly like ZVP and ZVT today, in terms of give you a general idea for an opener, or we could focus very heavily on one matchup if you wanted to do that instead. Like really break down not only your early game opener, but like what makes sense and when to do certain things. Like against Mech or whatever, we could do something like that. I can already think of a really easy way you could beat Mech, especially in Diamond to Masters.
Yeah, I'm not good with Swarm Hosts. I've tried it. I haven't given it a real try.
You should try it some more. Cause
I should try it some more.
That's what I'm gonna tell you to do. Swarm Hosts, like if you just know when to use them, let's just say that before
I get them out. I transitioned to them too late.
Sure.
And it's just. I think that's what happens.
Be honest with yourself and tell me what you think out of it. Like, let's just say 5 on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being like the best. What do you think your creep spread is?
Oh okay, so my creep spread's pretty good. I would definitely say it's Diamond.
Okay.
Creep recovery, not as good.
Okay.
But if I'm on Masters level for sure. But I'm halfway spread at the middle at 9 minutes during Terran. I don't really focus it way too much on Toss. I just kind of keep my active tumors just pushing out whenever I do. Zerg, I don't do any creep besides in between bases.
Okay, because like for instance, like that's good. What you just said, I feel confident for you. I'll see it more in a game you play, but
yeah,
creep spread is like what makes. Or go ahead. What's up?
Oh, so I'll lose my queens, especially against Bioterran. Like they'll just be on the front and unguarded, and a bio push will come right for them, and I just don't replenish.
If that ever happens, all you got to do is literally just rip a queen off one of your hatcheries and rebuild. Like inject your hatchery, build a new one, and then take that queen to go replace creep.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if you already have like 10, 20, 30 active tumors out there, like like the whole map is like your side of the map is covered in creep tumors essentially.
Yep.
You could just have one queen at that point as it dies, make a new one, bring a new one, and then take an existing one out. If it dies again,
Yeah.
do it again, and just keep using one queen at a time to keep replacing, and that's fine. Because you don't have
Okay.
to
So
start
you,
the
so you
spread.
don't need to keep the 4 or 5.
No, you don't. You
Replace
just want
okay.
it. You only want a lot of queens early, and it's not even for creep spread. It
It's
helps.
more for defense.
It's for defense exactly. It helps with creep spread because it gives you more tumors faster, but it's so that you have enough DPS to get rid of medevacs, to get rid of a BC, banshees,
Yep.
anything in the air. But it's not actually needed for creep spread all game. So a lot of times too, what you can do is you can actually, once you actually have like a lot of active creep in all directions going out really well, and now it comes down to like just creep recovery if it gets scanned and killed. And let's say you have like 4 queens, you could take like 2 out of those 4 queens and just put them at like new expansions you just made, and just like shift queue a bunch of injects on those hatcheries every once in a while, and now suddenly you just generated an extra like 30 larvae for yourself per queen.
Yeah.
So it yeah, definitely doesn't need to be you know, like all game, like all queens all game. But like the swarm host style, it definitely favors players who have good creep spread. Swarm host sucks ass if you have no creep spread, but if you do have creep spread, it's so easy to use them because all you do, literally, this is literally all you do with swarm host. You walk into one screen length of where you're gonna shoot your locust at. So you don't do it like super far away. You do it well, like if your swarm host are on the bottom, his base ideally would be on the top of your screen. You can like barely see both your swarm host and the base because you don't want to throw your swarm host away either. You don't want to run into enemy units and die. And then as soon as you launch your locust, you run away, go to a different location, and do it again. Run away, go to a different location, and do it again. You just do this over and over, like left, right, left, right, left, right. And the better your creep spread is, the closer you get to his base, and you can do this protected, because creep is what protects swarm host. Because you do not ever want to run in the fog of war with your locust or with your swarm host. You want to run like where you can see it's going to be okay.
Yeah, they're expensive, supply heavy, and die quick.
Yeah, and they're very slow off creep as well. They're super slow off creep comparatively to when they're on creep. So it just makes your life easy if you have good creep spread. And then once you actually get in that phase where you're actually pressuring your opponent with Swarmhost, especially if they're going mech, a lot of times you'll just keep them there where they're just always dying to locust over and over and over.
And then you complement them just with
honestly in Diamond with Hydras.
Depends.
Yeah, with
Hydras?
just go Hydras in Diamond. Literally just go Swarmhost Hydra. And then every time you do a locust attack, follow it in with like your like have locust or swarmhost on 2 or something, and have hydras on 1, and then go locust launch or swarmhost launch locust, and then move over there, like move to the next location. I'm gonna get ready to attack with my swarmhost. So they're already like moving as you do this, and then you can just be like hydras, follow the locust in and attack, and then once the locust kind of like start thinning out and like almost are completely gone, just pull your hydras back. And just do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And then all you got to do as well is every time when I say go left, right, always hit his furthest exposed base. So if he just expanded, kill the expansion. If he did not just expand, hit whatever is closer at that point, like the next closest base that he has, like his natural or his third or whatever.
And now we'll go into after because I like going speedlings for both toss. I've been going more ling. I do like a ling opening into the Hydra Lurker or into Corruptor Ling Bane first toss. Like that's what I've been having fun with lately, and it's been working. And so so I guess like my openings can be the same, but. So we figure out an opening, and then maybe just tell me when I should start. For when the mid game, we'll figure out. I don't know when to put down the infestation. When do I, kind of all that stuff. I'm lost on.
Okay. So do you want me to make you a build right now then first?
Yeah. We could do that. It's whatever. Yeah. If you want to break down the early game and.
All right, I can make you a build because I can make you a build that then we can talk about how to deviate it into ZVP and ZvT.
Yeah, that'd be excellent.
All right.
Because it's like I went to the spawning tool and everything, or not spawning tool, SC2 swarm, and it's like 35 drones do this, and that's not how my brain's working in the games,
Yeah.
I don't actually know the visual representation. I guess that's 2 base sat and 1 gas, right? Or no? Yeah, 2 base sat with 1 gas.
I'll give you
Would
gas
be
timings.
30.
I have one question for you though. Do you
Yep.
or do you not want to have overlord speed?
I really like Overlord speed.
Okay,
Just
so
because
all right,
if I'm not, yeah, I like it.
I'll give you both overlord speed, then it's all good. So
Yeah, I
you can do
saw
this
the
build against Protoss too then with overlord speed if you want it then too.
yeah, I sometimes go Overlord speed first Protoss too. The now you feel it's, I know it's like pull off and then put back on.
Uh huh.
Now
Oh,
how bad is it when you
if you leave
when
them
you
on,
just leave on?
that's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Say if I left just pulled 1 off.
It's bad.
So, yeah.
it's
Okay. All
the
right.
reason why is because all it's gonna do if you leave on is it's gonna make you hit your gas checkpoints faster, which you don't want to do because you're just gonna have more gas than you ever need. And if you feel like
Yeah.
when you have that gas, if you need to spin that gas, if you then also spin that gas, it's gonna add extra expenses in your minerals that you don't want to be spending. There are checkpoints for your minerals that you really want to hit, which is your third base and your third queen. And once you hit those,
Yeah.
then you put
So
back on.
I notice when I'm playing efficiently and I leave on gas, my queen production and stuff.
Yeah, no, it'll
And
fuck you over pretty
I
bad.
get that 30 hatch. And, what's that?
Yeah, like if you leave it on, it fucks you pretty bad because all your shit just gets
Yeah.
delayed.
No.
So we're gonna go 17 hatch, or I guess you go 16. I should have,
Yeah.
because this is for both matchups. You should just go
For
16.
both, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just write down 16 hatch if you're writing it down,
Yep.
and then 18 gas, 17 pool, and you can rally drone 17 and 18 here to do it.
Yep.
So gas
I'll do that.
first, and this way we already have 2 drones per patch, so our mineral saturation doesn't get all messed up. And then we're making drones, and all these new drones are just straight up rallying into the gas. So we're not going to actually rip off the mineral line at all. We're just going to still maintain all mineral saturation.
Yeah. Yeah, I rally. I do that.
Okay.
So this is all standard for me so far.
Yeah. And then we're going to take the 20th drone, and we're going to send it to our third base before an overlord.
Okay.
And then as soon as we make the overlord, the next one, we're going to rally it to where my first one is at my natural. And then we're going to
Send
take the
that one
natural,
across.
and we're going to send it across. Exactly.
Yeah. And now the first Reaper's coming out right about now, right?
Yep.
Or
Yeah, no,
came out a
it
little
would be like
before?
heading to your base right now. That would be
Yep.
passing your overlord, basically, the first one. And now we can make 4 lings. We can make 2 queens. And then you can rip off the gas now. Once you start the 2 queens like this, just rip off the gas.
Okay. All right, that's easier. So 2 queens, rip off gas.
Yep. And if you're at 80, if you're at 84, if you're at 88, rip it off either way until you have 1, and then you slowly get speed. And you do not put back on gas until you spend your larva. Like, spend all your larva right now, always, and we're going to be around 30 because of this. And
Yep.
now I'm going to take my third base, and then as soon as I take my third queen now, I am now going to put back on gas. So third queen is a priority right now. Now I'm saving for the third queen.
Okay.
I am-
And I'm not. So you're not spending larva right at that point.
I'm
either,
going to spin it
right?
again. No, I just went for the third queen right away because I wanted to start right after
Yeah.
the second one. And then I spent larva
then-
again after the third queen started. I go back to the main, and I just grab 2 drones off the mineral
You
line.
want to hit pause real quick? Just
Sure.
okay. So
Okay.
I'm spending.
I'll
spending all
tell
my
you.
larva.
I'll tell you exactly what I did
Okay.
again. I'll just tell you really
Yeah.
really in like a slower pace because I think you're writing it down. So,
Yeah.
So I made 2 queens. We're talking about the first 2 queens with the speed. I made the 2 queens
and ripped off.
immediately ripped off the gas. It was around 80 when I did it. So it turned into 88 as I ripped them off because they turned in the gas and then went to the natural. And then I
Yeah.
slowly mined the last 3 turn-ins of that gas with the 1 drone to get speed eventually. And then I spent all my larva all the way until I had 0 larva, which took me to 30 supply. Then
Yep.
I hit 300. I hit 300 minerals right after that, and I took my third base with that drone that was sitting there for a second. And then right after I took my third base, my larva just kicked back into 1-1 again on both my hatcheries, but my queens were just finishing right now, and I want my creep to be good, and I also want my next queen to be fast because my second queen at my natural is going to be the one injecting. So
Yeah.
I immediately started the queen first, right after the third hatchery, at 30 supply still. And then I went back into making my larva. and then I went back into saturating my gas on my main with 2 more drones again off the main mineral line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So start third queen.
yeah,
Spend larva, take 2 drones off, and remine gas, right?
yeah, off the mineral line and remind the gas again.
Yep.
And then once I'm at around, once I get overlord speed again, I'm gonna rip 2 drones back off gas again, and I'm gonna put them back on my mineral line again, at my main base.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put them back on gas again, but I'm not gonna rip off the mineral line. This third time I do it, I am not gonna rip off any mineral lines. I am just going to make, once I saturate my natural fully, and I'm starting once I start saturating my third, I am going to build 2 drones to saturate my gas again, and then call it a day.
And
it's gonna,
rally.
and it's exactly like 2 new eggs of drones. Will go back into that gas once I'm at that point, and then that will just be, that will be now forever on that gas.
So, and you're gonna want to try to pull off at 100, right? Or do you want to pull off
Once I
like,
get overlord
right-
speed, yes.
Yeah. And I got a quick question. Like, so I never, when I pull off, I pull off. Sometimes they got the gas. Do you shift pull off, and then that means they're
No.
gonna finish returning the gas?
What I
to
do,
the base?
all I do is I right click a patch that I want them to go to, and I hit C.
Yep.
Because what
And it makes them return the gas first.
yes. So if I tell a drone that has gas in its hand if I tell him right click a mineral patch, if he just goes to mine it, he'll just drop the gas and mine the minerals now, and then he'll just turn in minerals only. But if I hit C, it'll return cargo, and what return cargo does is it says, "Hey drone, go to the closest hatchery to return your cargo," and then go right back to doing the same job you were just told to do a second, like before this. It won't make him go back to the gas again.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like when I pull off for libs, I can hit C, and most of them will go back mining to whoever has minerals. So
Yeah.
all right, cool. That's good. So yeah, you pull off gas, you hit C, and then click. You just right click and hit C.
Well, you got to make
can
yeah.
right-click for-
You got to make sure you right click the mineral line first before you hit C. Otherwise, it will go back to the gas.
Yeah.
Because it tells the drone return cargo and then go back to the last job you were told to do.
Yeah. And then you're pulling off right at 100. You're not pulling off.
I'm pulling off at 100. On this one, I'm pulling off at 100. Yeah. Because the reason why is because now that it's a little bit later, it's easier to afford everything because we have more income coming in now, and we don't have the cost of a hatchery at this point, as well.
Oh yeah.
Yo, Jared, thank you for another
55 months.
Thank you, Jared.
That's like a
second
small
base.
child.
Okay, so. And then we're going back onto gas at second base. Sat.
Yeah. So
With drones going to the third, right?
Yeah,
Like
so-
larva production going to
once we
Rally.
start saturating our third mineral line, which means we have 16 on the main and natural, 2 of those eggs are going to go back to the gas in the main.
And we're gonna rally. We're gonna rally those.
Yeah. And now this is also around the time when your overlord speed is going to be finishing, and you're going to be able to tell if you want to take more of a defensive posture or more of a greedy posture. And the way you can tell that is by amount of production facilities. And we could talk about that when we get there.
Excellent. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, one of my replays, I misread his aggression, and I cut drones to make. I won the game, but I just made too much army, and then I was equal workers with Theron for most of the game.
Yeah. It makes sense. We'll just say this, okay? Around 5 minutes is when we'll talk about it again, because 5 minutes is like the magic number for both matchups.
That's when it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw 3 Rexes instead of a third CC, so I kind of was like, I'll make a round of links.
Yeah. All right. So you're the referee, so you can resume it. So whenever you're ready.
Sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
You're good.
Okay. So we're making Overlord, so we don't supply block. We're chilling. We're gonna do double creep tumors with the queen in the front of our base.
Now that's a late Overlord, right? Because you really wanted it at round 32. Or...
It's mildly late, I would say, yeah, but it was
Okay.
not that bad actually.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I'm gonna pause it one more time and just say this really fast.
Yeah.
You don't want to make. You don't want to make your third hatchery and then make your third queen and then make an overlord, because
you're not making any drones.
yeah, you're gonna have like 4 larvae sitting in your hatcheries if you do all of these things together. It's a bit much. You want to honestly spend your larva after you make that queen up to probably like 30, 33, 34. Like get a couple drones in, and then you can make the Overlord, and it's fine.
So like the first larva that drops off after you spent, or after you're spent. Got it.
Yeah, you just don't want to have your larva getting to like 4 or 5. Like it's getting a bit high, and like right there, I was supply blocked for all of about 3 seconds, and like I don't know how much larva I have right now because the game's paused, but I think I only have like 2 larvae sitting there. Okay, there you go.
Or no, that's production. Let me check out units. Yeah, you got two larvae.
Yeah, it's very little. I'm not even close to blocking.
Yeah.
And
now you would make another. Oh, you already made another Overlord. Okay.
Yeah. So just, I would say squeeze out at least 1, maybe 2 drones after the 3rd queen, and then make your Overlord. But you do it quickly. Don't forget about it. But yeah, just definitely don't just save for the Overlord and then just let your larva sit there.
Okay.
All right. So now when you resume it, I'm gonna rip off my gas again. Go back to the mineral line. Make Overlord speed, and I am just. At this point now, you got to pay attention to Zergling speed. I should now make like probably 10 Zerglings, just to be on the safe side, so that we don't get fucked over by adepts right now. Like if there was multiple adepts coming at me, or if there was Hellions, essentially.
Yep.
And now you can see I'm fully saturated on the natural. So now 2 of my drones that I'm gonna make are now just gonna get rallied into that gas of my main base, and I have all my hatcheries rallied to the 3rd mineral line. And we're still making queens at both my 3rd and my natural. Just constantly. Every time I can afford them. Still, we're trying to prioritize larva, but every time we can afford it, make a queen, make a queen, make a queen. And if you can maintain this, if you can actually spend your larva every time you have like 50 minerals, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we have 100 gas. This is around that time when you can start Overlord speed scouting their base. So now we can actually fly in and we can see what's going on. Up to 5 minutes is going to be like the magic number here. And this is that point when you would make the decision to go, do I want to go for a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren before or after I take a layer? Or like, what do I need? Do I want to go for spores now? And if I'm going to pause it now really quick and just say this. So at this point in time, there's 2 things you should see, okay? There's one of 2 things you should see. Number 1 is you should see something that looks like, if we're talking about Terran, it should be like 111 and a 3rd command center. Or like something along that variety where there is something with only 3 production facilities and a 3rd command center. Now, if this Terran instead had 3 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport, and no 3rd command center, this would be the time when you should stop droning where you're at right now.
Okay.
Like at 5 minutes is when you can like stop droning. I made the safety lings. I don't, because I really want you to. I want to make sure you don't stop droning at like fucking 4:20 and be like, or 4:30 and be like, oh,
see,
well,
that's what happened the game before.
Yeah.
Was I stopped at 4:30,
because
so I was really hurting.
For instance, look at my 3rd base right now. I can't move my camera because it's paused. But is it fully saturated?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, 22 out of 16.
Exactly. So I have a lot of drones, and look at my production. How many more drones do I have in production right now?
You got 10 more on the way.
And how many drones do I have in total then? Like 60?
57.
Okay.
Yeah,
this
57 at 5 minutes. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So if you can hit this number around 5 minutes and you scout, oh shit, he's going to be aggressive. He will not already be attacking you, but he's going to attack you in about 1 minute. So if you see something, like let's say it's mass Hellions, and you go, fuck, okay, I'm going to make a Roach Warren, and I'm going to go into like an extra 3 gases or something like that. Like I'm going to go to 4 gases in total. So I'm going to get a layer, a Roach Warren, and total of 4 gases. You can, if you're going to do that, I would say you could, if you really wanted to, you could maybe make more drones just because you're waiting on the roaches, and maybe you could supplement that with some Evo chambers in a way where you could block your base, or you could make more lings if you're really paranoid about dying right now. It's really a judgment call there. It's kind of a judgment call. If it was going to be but like that's something you could do. If it was if it was going to be like marine heavy, like let's say it's three racks with tanks and medevacs, and you wanted to make more lings right now, you could take like an extra 2 gases again, or maybe 3 gases if you wanted to, and you could go into Ling Bane. So you could make a layer and a Bane nest right now and start making more Zerglings right now. Also, with Hellions, I would say, so if it's like Marines and you know it's just Marines, you could stop making queens at like 7. But if you were here's another thing. If you were gonna do the idea where you said, or where I said you can make the roach warren, you could also make more queens. You could supplement your lack of roaches right now in case he pushes you right now with a less army, but it's still kind of scary, by making more queens until you have roaches.
And just keep queen.
Yeah, you could then stop instead of stopping queens at like 7, you could queen till like 11 or like 9.
Yeah.
And then because with 7 already, you can see our creep spread's already getting kind of fucking insane. I already have all my bases connected. My whole main base is going to be covered as well by the tumor in the main ramp. It's just going to go down my main base. But I'm going to have creep in every direction in every base. And this is that point where, let's just say now there was a 3rd command center. Now I'm going to take, if I saw that, I'm going to take a 4th base. I'm going to take a macro hatch. I'm going to take a layer. I'm going to take a bane nest. And I'm going to take all my gas. So I'm basically going to start everything except for my tech and my upgrades. And I will start my upgrades shortly after, but I'm not going to start them right this second because it's too fast.
Yeah. So just to sum up, 5 minutes. So we scouted 3rd CC. We're gonna.
You should have.
Gonna
just to throw it out there.
Expand.
Just I hate to interrupt you again, but I'll just say this really fast.
Yeah, no,
if he does go for 3rd command center, that shit should be going down in the early 4-minute period of time. So if you scouted it around 5 minutes, it should almost be done by now.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen a lot of Terrans going fast CCs too. At least they're going like a fast 3rd.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. I would say it's most common nowadays. Because a lot of Terrans like to do 3-base aggressive builds. They don't really do 2-base all-ins anymore. They sometimes do, but it's not as common. But 3-base heavy fucking aggressive Terran is definitely more common, and their 3rd base usually will get thrown down just after 4 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's my lack of queen production or maybe lack of overlords, but like between now and 6 minutes, I find myself, or like when I'm going to take my 4th, I usually find myself around 1K.
Minerals?
1K, 1200. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's why we do. Well, I'm about to make 2 more hatcheries. I'm literally going to take 5 gases, right? I'm going to take a layer, a bane nest, all 5 gases, and 2 hatcheries right now. And then I'm going to fully saturate all of my 3 bases, and then I'm going to make lings. Because no matter what the Terran does, even if they go 3-base, you need to make a round of lings after you have 3-base saturation, no matter what. And you want to make lings until you have about 40 of them, I would say, or maybe 50 in total. And so, like, you could have, like, 40 lings and 10 banes, for instance.
Okay.
And then after that, if you see your opponent is, on a 3rd base and they still haven't attacked you yet, you then have a momentum swing in your favor where you could do one round of drones off of your hatcheries, and you can make 1 round of drones for your 5th, or for your your 4th base.
4th.
And then you'll be fucking 80 drones already, like 80, 85.
Yeah. So that 1 round is like you're talking full saturation.
Yeah, because you're going to be doing 1 round of drones off of all of your hatcheries being injected, which is going to be insane.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So and now it's safe to. So all right, let's keep going with the game. We're not there yet.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Break it down again. Ready?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go layer. I'm making a bane nest. I'm still making. We're just gonna pretend it's a 3rd base again. I'm making all drones. I just re-rallied every hatchery to its own base really fast. The reason why is because I'd already fully saturated all the mineral lines, so now I want to oversaturate to make my gases properly. I can still spread my creep in the meantime while I'm kind of chilling here, trying to get things going.
I'm gonna go to your camera.
It keeps things really busy. We can just do another inject. And here comes another hatchery, and another round of drones, so we can finish off our droning. I now have 67 drones at 540.
Yeah.
And now we can take all our drones here and just fix in the mineral lines and be like, what base is oversaturated? If any base looks undersaturated, we can fix it like we just did. We just sent drones to all our bases all over the place. So now every base I have is fully saturated except for my natural, which has new drones at it. Now I'm layer, and I'm going to take a hydrogen and 2 evos. I'm going to start bane speed, and I'm going to make a round of lings. And I'm going to take my existing lings while I make bane speed, and I'm going to make banes. And I just made 9. 9's fine. Now I'm going to make creep while I'm chilling, because we're waiting. I can even make an overseer at this point if I wanted to, or something like that.
Yeah.
You can take a Zergling at this point too if you haven't done so already, and go scout his 3rds just to see how greedy he's being. And if he takes a 3rd, it's guaranteeing that you're going to be safe to take all your drones at your third base or your fourth base, and you'd be fine. If he doesn't take a third yet, and he's like, even though he has a third in his base, but if he's getting ready to attack you first, probably keep making lings, because you'll see it moving out at you. The better your creep spread is, the faster you'll see that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But like right now, again, we can now go into upgrades, Hydra. We can take 2 queens and we can go inject both of our hatcheries that we just made. Where's my other queen? There it is. And now I can make a round of drones for our fourth base. So now we have 5 queens injecting 5 hatcheries. And all it took was 1 eject. 1 eject, and look at my drone count already. Just 1 eject. And now we're already 85 drones. So my drone count is fucking cruising right now. And we have, again, we have 5 injects going on. So now I just made a bunch of overlords. I mean, probably like 6 at once. And now I can make a shitload of hydras and spend all my money to fill in like the hydra missing gap here. If you wanted to go for like a hydra style here, which is fine.
Yep.
And now we just made a round of hydras. We can saturate our gas at our fourth. And now I would say we can now take a 5th base because we're fully saturated on all our bases. And around 8 minutes, your 5th should be starting because look at my main base. Patches are about to mine out around 8 minutes. That's pretty standard. So that's why we did that. And now once everything's kind of like going smoothly here, we can make more banes. We're chilling at our base, whatever. We can now start an infestation pit because we're getting ready to go hive, which will allow us to get good upgrades. It'll allow us to go into ultras. It'll also allow us to go into like upgrades, adrenal glands, ultras, hive tech, whatever, all that stuff basically. I think I said the same thing twice, but yeah.
What is hive build time? Like, this is something I should know.
Around 8 minutes, is, like around the time when you take your 5th base, you should be taking your infestation pit.
Yeah, but the build time on it itself.
It's 71 seconds.
71. Okay,
Yeah,
so then
it's the same
you're
as the
talking
Spire.
9, 15, 9. Yeah. 9:30. You want to be going up to.
If you do it perfectly, look at my infestation pit and look at my upgrades on my evos. This should be an upgrade. This should be a window for you.
2-2s.
2-2 starts
finished.
right when the hive starts. Right when 2-2 starts. That way you can start 3-3 shortly after you hit hive, and you'll have enough money to do everything. Like that should be like just like a, like if you do hive a little, or sorry, if you do 2-2 a little bit before hive, that's still okay. But you should be aiming for the goal of hitting 2-2 right around the time when you have your hive. Like if you can do that, you're great. That way you can hit 3-3 at a solid timer of like 12 to 13 minutes.
Yeah. What do you think about taking the evos a little earlier?
I don't like it.
Like that.
It's the reason why I don't like it is because you'll fuck over some type of your production to a degree.
Yeah.
Like you have to realize it's not every game is perfect, and some games you'll have to defend more than you'll want to. And if you take evos early and you make upgrades like 1-1 and you're getting attacked when you need banes, you'll die.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of gas in the early game.
And now at this point, you know, you obviously can just attack and do whatever you want. And from here, like you would go into you'd still going into five queen injects, which is fucking insane. You could even take another queen and look at my nude base. I just shift commanded a bunch of injects at it, and now I have 1 queen injecting. Or sorry, 1 queen creep spreading. Because I don't even need the queen to be out here anymore. It just needs to replace creep that dies at this point. I have so many active tumors. And now I just have like how much larvae do I have right now? I have
40.
Yeah, I have 40 larvae, and then now I have another base that it got injected a bunch, so my larva is gonna keep exploding ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
And now we're hive, so now we can go into an ultra den, we can go into a spire, we can go into a lurker den. You can do any tech you want here. I would say ultra den's probably the easiest, and spire as well.
Yeah, I like going ultras.
Yeah. And then you can now switch this into anything you want from here. You can go into like if my army dies, I now have 58 larvae and counting. And then we can even take another base. Like it's ridiculous how much larvae you're gonna always have to replace your shit.
Now, so say like you got the clear lead here. I mean, this is more I think my bad control, but you know, like I was up to what five bases or whatever, and or 5-6 bases. I was up to I had I had the 6 made, but I wasn't finding it yet, and I was just getting pulled left and right by like 8 Marines.
Send so
I ended up losing.
Just send like don't a move your whole army to location to location to location. If you see a Terran is like dropping you with one thing at a time, just send like a chunk of your army, green box it. Be like, half some of my army go over there to where he keeps dropping me, and some of my army go over here to where he keeps dropping me. And then if he drops like your main, let's say he like bypasses your army on the side of the map, and he goes like wherever base is over there, and he goes to like over the cliff now to your main base. Send another chunk of your army over to your main base now. You don't actually need that much supply to defend a 10 supply medevac drop.
No.
Like, if you have army there as well before it drops, it is even less than, like, for instance, if you have 30 supply of Terran dropping your third base, and you're not there yet, you will need to respond to that with probably 30 supply, and ideally have some Banes there. Because if you have no Banes there, and he's like tucked into your mineral line, and it's just 30 supply of straight Zergling, you could totally lose that fight. But if you have some Banes, suddenly it's a lot different, and he has to either die or run away. However, if the Terran opponent has like 30 supply going to your third base, and you're already there, and you are he's dropping into your lings, you could have like half the supply that he does there, and you'd still win. So you could have like 15 supply of Ling Bane, absorbing 30 supply of Marine medevac if the Marines are literally dropping straight into the lings underneath them, because you're already there, because you have a little tiny force just sitting there, then you would crush easy. And if it gets really out of control, if you're like, okay, this is super annoying all the time, what you could do is not only what I just said, but add in like one spore crawler on each intersection of your bases. So like one spore crawler on the top of your third, one spore crawler on the top of your natural, one spore crawler on the top and the other side of your main base, one spore crawler on the side of the other side of your main base where like your fourth is or your fifth is. You could add like one spore, like, so like, you know how you normally put one spore per mineral line? If your opponent's going for like drops instead of putting them in the mineral line, put them like on the cliff sides where they would normally come from with their medevacs, so that every time they drop you, there's pressure.
The medevacs will eventually die. They can't just continuously keep it up with the same
exactly.
group of
Every time he like boosts past the spore color, he gets hit 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And a medevac only takes, I think, 11, either 10 hits with no upgrades, but 11 hits if there's an upgrade on the armor of medevacs for it to die from a spore color. And then if a queen also helps kill it, it'll die even faster.
Yeah. And how about all right, so that was our third CC. Now I scout instead of a third, 3 barracks going down. It's just pure. Do I still want to take the fourth as in the micro as a larvae? As a larva.
You want to take the fourth every time, no matter what. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why is because exactly it's larva, and if your opponent's going for a 2 base all in, and you're like, I need larva for the 4th base, it also gives you it's like a backup plan, like a fail safe, where if your 3rd base does die because you fucked up an attack, you can just rotate to your 4th base, and that's now your new 3rd. You'll easily have the money for it to take your 4th base. Because again, the point I'm trying to make to you, the big one is, I do not want you to stop droning at like 36 drones and be like, okay, we're good. It's like 55 to 60. It's just mineral focused is what it is. So that's why you can afford it so fast, because there's not a gas emphasis there.
Yeah. And now, when I was doing my build a little more, I would off the single drone, before I was doing overlord speed, it was like I was using the gauge of 150. Like it would be the time to, like when I saw 150 gas, it would be the time to take the layer in the Bane nest. And then with this build, you just say 5 minutes go, or you'd have to read it, but 5 minutes.
Well, the thing is you're not going to actually read the build at 5 minutes. You're just going to really make the choice with your economy at around 5 minutes. Like by then, hopefully you know everything is what I mean. With your scouting, because you will be able to scout his base by like 420, 430.
Yeah, 3. Well, you got a little after 3, right? Well, so I've been going quicker because I haven't been pulling off.
Yeah, I would say definitely you got to pull off though, because if you don't pull off, like if you think that me having 57 drones at 5 minutes is good, you will not have 57 drones at 5 minutes if you do not pull off gas.
I'm a pull out master too.
Good, nice dude. No pregos for you.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, if you
I
don't,
lost my train of thought.
no, it's okay. Like I'll just I'll continue on. If you don't pull off gas off of the first zergling speed and you just keep going with it the whole time, by 5 minutes you probably have 48 drones, legit.
Yeah. So I remembered it. What time does OV speed? What time does OV speed kick in when you're doing the build this way?
Well, after 4 minutes.
At 4 minutes.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
you'll have
so
overlord speed by
instead of
probably like
doing
4. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Instead of doing like the 330 scout and like
you can you can still scout. Just don't fully commit your overlord to his base before speed's done. Don't lose it.
Yeah.
You can, like, if you want to skirt the edges and then back off, you can totally do that if you see an opportunity for that. But don't really fully commit to flying through his base until speed's like 95% of the way done, so that even if there is a marine there and he catches you, he only shoots you for like 3 shots, and then you're gonna get speed kicks in and you go.
Okay.
Like, you just don't want your overlord to be like at 50 hit points and then suddenly overlord speed's done. You're like, here we go, I'm dead.
And I'm still getting to see their tech if they're doing an early game push at that point.
You totally will. No one does. The only type of player that will attack you before 5 minutes, like all in wise, is a one base all inner. 5 minutes is the magic number of knowing what's going to happen before they really attack you, because roughly anybody who opens up with a natural and then just stays on 2 bases, techs to a starport, and then all ins you off of 2 bases like that with whatever it might be, 6 minutes is around when they attack you.
Yeah.
So if you fully got a read on their base between 4:30 and 5 minutes, you're going to have 1 minute to 90 seconds to react before anything bad happens.
All right. Excellent. Now, so all right. Now I'm reading mech at that 430 scout point.
So mech is, you can't honestly distinguish whether it's bio or mech unless you see multiple factories, and even then, you still want to follow up a scout in case people copy trends of rotating cycles of production around. Where like some people like to do this build lately, where it's double factory, 1 reactor, 1 tech lab, blue flame opener of mass aliens, and they switch that into tank production, like heavy tank production with bio. They just open blue flame Hellion and then go bio with tanks. So if that's what it was, you gotta be like, if you scout again around 6 minutes with an overlord or an overseer, whatever you want it to be, you will probably be able to tell whether it's bio or mech for sure at that point, because by 6 minutes they're gonna have their main focus down now at that point, regardless of if it's 3 command centers or not. Because if they don't by that point, you would just kill them if they don't still. But around 6 minutes you'll for sure know. But 5 minutes is not always guaranteed. Sometimes they'll reveal it, sometimes they won't by then.
There's a guy I play. He's Masters though. Last night he did exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He showed me mech and then switched into bio.
Yeah. But like,
I didn't get a good read on it. I didn't reread it.
The one thing for sure though, so like mech or bio can be like figured out by around 6 minutes for sure. But around 5 minutes, you'll be able to tell if it's aggressive or economic. And if it's economic, it doesn't mean you're not going to get attacked. It just means that if they do attack you, it's going to be light harassment. It's not going to be an all-in. And if it is aggressive, it means that there's probably no 3rd command center, and it's fucking aggressive. Like, if you don't crush it right away, it's going to parade push you till you die.
Yeah.
So that's when you have a full minute of, like, 5 hatchery injecting production to be like, I'm about to boost my supply by 50, and before you do your timing, and then I'm just going to fucking make Massling Bane or Roaches or whatever you want to make, whatever makes sense for you that game. And then, like, if it's Hellion Cyclone, you probably want to focus on Roaches. If it's like Marine Tank or whatever, just bio focus, you probably want to focus on Ling Bane. And
I do like going the Ling Bane Roach against the Cyclone Hellion just for when they dive on creep too far. I get like
personally, I would say Mass Roaches is better. That's my I hate Ling Bane against Hellion Cyclone. Because if you just get Roach speed, all you got to do to punish Hellion Cyclone is you just let him, if he kills your creep, you let him run on your creep to kill it, because he has to. He can't kill it from siege. And as he runs on your creep, you chase him down with roaches, and you will run at his army. You don't just A-move him. You literally run at him, and as soon as your roaches are on top of his units, you focus fire a Cyclone.
Yeah.
If you do that like 3 times, he can't do anything, because mass Hellions aren't going to do shit. They're not threatening at all, because you could just shove them back with roaches every time.
Yeah.
And then all you got to do is every time he scans your creep like that, immediately, as soon as you push him away, run a queen over there, drop a tumor down, and then run the queen back so that your queen doesn't also just die in case he comes back. And just repeat the process.
Okay.
Ling Bane is so larva expensive. You'll be, like, basically the thing about Ling Bane
you
is...
don't get the perfect surround.
Yes, exactly.
You lose it all.
You're just going to be stuck in this low economy situation the whole time, hoping he fucking overcommits.
Yeah. I mean, they become like real fast-paced, high-aggression games. They're fun, but they're sloppy. It's not playing safe.
Yeah.
It's usually sloppy.
Indeed.
All right. Yeah, and then then versus Battlemech is just roaches, and then is that the point where that's a good time to go on a storm house too?
So against
After
Battlemech,
that?
you would want to go roaches until you're 4 bases. And then when you're 4, like, you would take, while making roaches, you're not going to spend all your money because you're not making Ravagers, you're not making Banes, you're not making upgrades, you're not going for Carapace and shit like this.
No.
While you go roaches against Battle,
Attack upgrades or not?
just weapon upgrades is fine. Yeah, it's fine. But you're not going to be making gas expensive things. Is my point I'm trying to make here. You'll easily have enough gas to add on 2 things that I think are important. Add on a Spire and add on a Infestation Pit, and only use the Spire if he goes mass Siege Tank and mass Hellion, because some Terrans who do does happen a lot. It's not even like one of those things where it's like 1 in every 20 Terrans do this. It's like 1 in every 3 Terrans do this.
Yeah.
It's because they're like, oh, you're going mass roaches. I'm gonna go mass tanks, and I'm gonna do a push because I usually kill people who go roach Ravager when I play this way, because I have 15 tanks. If they do that and you see that with your Overlord and you're like, this guy's got fucking mass tanks, and then he pushes you with mass tanks, just literally switch gears back into Zergling Muta. Just for 1 round of it, make like 20 Mutalisk and watch all of his tanks die. And all of his Hellions die. Like, he can't do anything about it. And then once
is that better than trying to get into Broodlords at that point?
Yes. You will not have a hive by that point.
Okay.
You will definitely not have a hive at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel I've tried exactly what you're saying when I said it's always so like I've tried like, oh, he's doing exactly what you're saying. He's going mass state, like, I might lose I'll probably end up getting pushed by the time I lose my 5th or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to push him back, and then I lose some of the Broodlords. Sometimes I win. Sometimes I lose.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where like broods are not realistic, and then also broods are way more expensive. Like, you could have, for every 1 Broodlord you can make 2.5 mutas, and mutas are much more mobile. So all he has to do to counter your Broodlords is literally unsiege and run away, and he might lose the first couple tanks. Like, if you and if you go mutas, if he unsieges and runs away, you can kill all of his tanks as he crosses the map back home.
Yeah.
So it's much more punishing if you go muta, and you don't have to go muta all game either. You just go mutas for that one moment, and then he's gonna go Thors probably, and then that's when you go Swarmhost. And if your mutas die, then they die. But if you go into Swarmhost, like, make every transition you do, no matter what, always be against mech open roaches, make an infestation pit, make a Hydra, make a Spire infestation pit first, just in case he does that weird tank shit, and you focus on roach Swarmhost first. And then, once you're good, you switch into Hydra Swarmhost, and you stop making roaches altogether. And if you have to, you can make mutas. If you don't have to, you don't have to make them at all. It's just nice in case he does do a tank push, because if you don't make a Spire and he does do a tank push, your chances of losing games like that versus Terrans who can macro it decently are high.
Yeah.
So I would say a good number to make would be of roaches. If he's going Battlemech, it really comes down to how well you micro it. Like, how well are you picking off his Cyclones? But realistically, you're probably going to have to make maybe around like 30 roaches against Battlemech, roughly. If he's not going
for the opener.
Yeah, like right as you have like roach speed, you probably go up to like 30 roaches.
Okay.
If he does not have, what's it called? Battlemech though. If he's going for more of a standard composition, like defensive tank, maybe he made a battle cruiser or something.
Yeah.
Probably like 12 to 15 roaches and you're good. Because that's just to fight Hellions then. You don't have to worry about everything else. And you can make Swarmhost faster, and you can make Hydras faster. And when you make Swarmhost, only make 16 and stop. Do not make more than 16. Do not make like 40 swarm host.
Yeah,
Makes-
and same with those throwing down the spire and the infestation pit. You know, like if he's doing the BC opening into that kind of like turtled up, try to slowly take a fourth kind of mech.
Just make sure you know too, if he does go BC opener, like straight up like Hellion BC opener, and you open up with Hellion, or you open up with Spire Infestation Pit, you could just skip making Stormhost at that point for now, and you can straight up win the game going Corruptor and Roach.
Right, yeah, that's so that's what I've been doing. Like I just like 8-9 Corruptors max, try to get as many Roaches as I can by 8 minutes, and then just
Yeah, you just never let him
get
expand
across the
again.
map.
You never let him expand,
Yeah.
and he just dies.
Well, yeah, because you kill a BC, then you can go pee on the main, and even if your Roaches all die to something, you
I
at
like your,
least pissed on one or
I
two
like
of
your
these
logic. You could go kill the BC, then you piss on his main. It's really just about controlling the air, and then your Roaches are supposed to kill his base.
Yeah.
But you got the idea though. Yeah, it's easy. But yeah, Roach Corruptor is good against mech if they go BC heavy like early.
Open it, because they can't afford anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Hydra would just be your go-to in my opinion if the game is like a standard game, and it's like back and forth, and you're like it feels like a normal game of mech. Like it's nothing extreme, like Roach Corruptor now, or he's not going like you can't go Muta because he's going for like mass tanks and Hellions. Like if it's not something that's extreme like that, and it's more of standard, just everyday mech, Roach opener with like maybe 15 Roaches just to be safe, and because you're gonna need them while you're fighting off the Hellions and shit like that.
Are you continuing with the same set? 4 or 5 creep queens at this?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Everything up to that point, when we have 5 minutes, is identical.
Yeah.
And then you make your deviation based off of are you gonna make a Bane Nest or you're gonna make a Roach Horn.
Yeah.
And you'll know before you make that building, because you want to pair that building with your layer no matter what, and you'll know what building you're going to want to make because your scout will have told you by now what you're going to make.
Yeah, due to his early aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then and now just to bring back, because I don't have it written down in my notes and I'll forget, but so you were saying you could go up to if I am playing lane B, going up to like 11 queens. What was that situation?
That was if you wanted to go for Roaches, but you felt pressured more than you normally do. Like maybe he was going Banshee Hellion or something like that. Like maybe he was just making you feel more pressured than you wanted to be, and you don't want to sit there making like 70 Zerglings, which you shouldn't. Like you can make some more lings. I'm not opposed to that, but you definitely shouldn't make like. Don't be that guy that sits there for 2 minutes straight just going mass lings, mass lings, mass lings, and you're like, I hope I get a good surround, and then he shows up and he roasts 50 lings within 4 seconds with like 12 blue flame Hellions, and you're like, oh, shit, okay, well that was bad.
Yeah. Okay, and then so we have 5 minutes, 12, 15, and then you're going Hydra swarm hosts after the 15 safety. And that would be off of your 85, your 4 base economy, right?
So this is how it would go, okay? You would with the economy thing, you'd have 15 Roaches or so, and you would also have your queens that are spreading creep and all that stuff, and you'd be scouting him still. Yep. If you scouted a Terran that had a 3rd command center and it did not look that threatening, you could totally get away with taking your drones at your 4th and going into Hydra Swarmhost. I would say prioritize Stormhost first and then make Hydra second.
Okay.
However,
squishier.
Yeah, if the Terran was a bit more aggressive though, and you wanted to go into Hydra Swarmhost, but your Terran opponent was constantly being super aggressive and doing random shit that was just making you lose some of your Roaches, maybe stay on the Roach phase a little longer. Like just make sure you have enough Roaches to where if he shows up, you can push him back. So if you're losing Roaches but he's losing units, maybe remake some of your Roaches. Like, try to always stay, like, if he's being aggressive, maybe ramp your Roach count up to, like, 20 to 24. If he's being super aggressive and you're losing Roaches for whatever reason. Yeah. And then go back to drones and Swarmhost and Hydra. Either way, you're still going to make it pretty fast, the Hydra Swarmhost drone thing. But Roaches are really, like, 15 is a good well-rounded amount to have defensively early, but any more is a judgment call if you feel like you need them. And if you do feel like you need them, you don't need to have like 50 of them or 100 of them. It's just a few more if he's going to be harassing you if he has a third command center. Or it would be a lot more if he's going to two-base all in you. Then Roach Ravager might not be the worst idea if he's going fucking ham like that. Or either that or like here's the crazy thing too, okay? If your opponent's going to go like two-base, Hellion Cyclone all in, and you're like on the Roach phase, and you're like, I kind of want to go Swarmost. Swarmost are actually not that great against Hellion Cyclone. They're really good against everything else, but they're not that great against Hellion Cyclone. So if your opponent was going Hellion Cyclone, I would say if you do make an Infestation Pit, then maybe make like either you don't need one at all. You could go Burrow move, and you could fuck him over that way. Or if you want to try, you can make it a couple like 2-3 Infestors, and you just get one juicy fucking fungal on a big clump of his Hellion Cyclone, and the fight is over as long as you chain it once or twice. Because then all of his shit dies. And it's like Terran Supply just went from 150 down to like 92. Because you just killed like 12 Cyclones. And you're like, well, yeah, you're dead.
So it's definitely worth it if I have the money while fighting Battlemech to get the Infestor energy upgrade.
Yeah, you should totally get that, yeah.
And Burrow.
Like, if you want, I would say get one or the other. Do not get Burrow if you're not going to go Tunneling Claws. You can get Burrow later if you want to, just for everything. But don't rush Burrow if you're not going to go Tunneling Claws right away. If you are going to go Tunneling Claws right away, don't even go Infestors. Just make Burrow Roaches. That's it. If that's your choice. If you want to just straight up use standard Roaches, though, and you want to use a couple Infestors and try that route, I personally like that route better because I think Infestors transition better to late game with Neural Parasite and shit like that, if it gets to that point. But I don't think most of your games will. We're talking Diamond League, right? So most of your games should not get to a Neural Parasite situation. You should honestly win with Swarmost. The big thing you gotta
win before that.
Yeah, the big thing you gotta worry about, like all you have to do to win with Swarmost is maximize their cooldown. Don't be that fucking guy that makes Swarm Hosts and sits there defensively and just waits and waits and waits. And you're like, when's the last time you made your Locust attack him? Like 4 minutes ago? Why? That shit cools down every 40 seconds. Do not fucking sit there for like make sure you maximize it with it to where within 3 seconds of the cooldown being ready to go again, you've already during the cooldown repositioned your Swarmost in the new location, and as soon as it's ready, you launch it again. And then as it's launched, you don't micro the Locust, you just let it do it, and you go micro your Swarmost instead, and you move them to the next location. You always move them to the location to where you bounce him left, right, left, right, left, right. Or you bombard his base with backing up, like Hydra's backing it up. So like you launch wave a Locust, Hydra's follow it in, break his ass apart.
Yeah. Either all the tanks siege or they're all gonna.
You're going to do a fuckload of damage to him if you engage him with Hydra Swarmers together. And then when your Swarmost thin out, or your Locust rather, you don't just stand there and lose all your Hydras. You just back off. Exactly. Because what you'll do every time, what you do is your bank will grow and grow and grow and grow, and his bank will stay low because it keeps getting replaced. Everything has to keep dying and getting replaced over and over and over. Mm-hmm. Yo, Rushy, thank you for the raid, man. What's up, guys?
And that sets you up for a good tech switch. And if they're starved, they can't take a tech switch either, right? You know.
Exactly. If that's what it comes down to, yeah, that is very true. You probably won't even have to tech switch though. In Diamond, I'm dead serious. You could just win the game with Hydra Swarmost. Just keep making. Just like as all you have to do is if you lose an army, if you actually overcommit on accident, and you're like, oh fuck, I lost stuff. Just make sure you've been injecting your bases well enough and creep spreading well enough to where you have a lot of mobility, and you can remax immediately. And just remax. Always try to stay around 16 Swarmost and just remax Hydra. Remax Hydra. Remax Hydra.
All right, so 16. Yeah, we didn't get that number out. So 16 Swarm House is kind of the
that's
number.
perfect. Yeah. Don't go above that.
And when I am, say he's getting tired of me, he's still got a decent side army, and he's just like, all right, well fuck you, I'm A moving. You know, I'm going.
You will kill him if you maximize your Swarmost.
Half wave at a time.
No. Just do whole wave. Just don't worry about that. That's advanced. Don't worry about half wave for now. Just do all Locust every time.
Yeah, and follow up with and since I do have a bank, follow up with the Hydras, back off.
Yeah.
Wave follow.
Yeah.
Back off.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And the reason why I tell you not to do half a wave of Locust is because That's a judgment call again, whether you know his army is going to take damage to it or not. That changes repeatedly based on what his composition is. So that's super advanced. Like if your opponent has a lot of tanks, like no anti-air really, half waves are really good because you can micro the Locust with half waves to land on his tanks repeatedly with bits of your Locust, and you just maximize his friendly fire splash damage. But if he has a lot of Thors, you need to do full waves because he will kill your Locust if they're half waves. Like they won't even engage then; they'll just die in the air.
Yeah. And now, and that was another thing. I'm sending waves of locusts out of his base. Do I just want to keep depleting his army, or do I want to be?
It's both. It's both.
An army, fire,
it's both. I know what you mean. It's both. So like, don't even bother microing the Locust. Like unless you want to physically kill the command center. That's about the only time I would say, yeah, micro your Locust for this time. If you see an opportunity to just wipe a command center out. Otherwise, that's advanced. Don't make that your priority. Make your priority spreading your creep, injecting your larva, and setting up your fights. And always making sure your Swarmos are getting set up again. And once you get really comfortable with those things, then you can start microing your Locust. Microing Locust is definitely not the priority though. And you should be bouncing it every time you do it. Bounce it like left, right, so that you can break his army here and there. You can also ideally break parts of his base where he's not really well defended. Like if you keep only attacking one base at a time, he'll over defend it and he'll do better. But if you break, like let's say you hit his third, he over defends his third. Now suddenly you went to the other side of the map while he was defending that, and you launch Locust into his main base, and he's like, "Fuck, I got nothing there," and you just killed 4 factories, and now his production is just destroyed. Let's say he only had 6 in total, and now he's got 2. It just buys you so much time now to where when you go back to his third and you break his army again a little bit, he cannot replace it very well. So that means the Hydras are probably going to break him even harder with your Locust. Yeah. And then you do it again. You just rotate.
I just had a great game where I went really heavy corruptor versus just a couple BCs, and I did a push, but all my roaches died from the tanks.
Yeah.
I just kept pissing on his factories over and over again, and if you try to build the turret, I would piss on the turret, and he kept trying to build his factories on the same tech lab, so I was just hanging out there, and
nice. No, it's if you can kill their production, it fucks them over.
Awesome.
Yeah, it fucks them over pretty bad.
Over. It was like 3-4 times he tried to build his factories there, and I wall micro. Yeah. Then I'd snipe the Vikings he was making. Then I didn't want any Thors to come out.
Yeah, Locust.
I was trying to get up to Broodlords.
Locust will do the same thing too. And to be honest, I would say you don't even need to go Broodlords in this situation. If you have a hard time breaking a Terran, I would actually, since you're Diamond, here's what I'll say: if you're doing a great job back and forth, just crippling the Terran with Hydra Locust. If you get to a point where the game just is not over yet, and you see an opportunity for this because he's so turtly, you could add on like 2 Vipers. Just like 2 Vipers. Yep. And you could even I don't even care if they just die in the process. But you could add them into your... Pull. Well, not even pull. I would say you could Blinding Cloud a big clump of his tank area or his Thors as you send the Locust Wave into him. And you could add your Vipers into your... So what you could do is you could go like Stormmost on 2, Hydra Viper on 1. Stormmost on 2, launch Locust into his army. Run a Locust across. As soon as they launch, run them away to the next location they're going to go to. So they're already doing that. And you go back to...
They're already on the way to the next.
Yeah.
Then
you go to number 1, like your Hydra Viper, and you A-move him. And your Viper will be the priority there. And when you A-move him, you just let Hydras move in on A-move, and you just Blinding Cloud, like the main chunk of his army. And your Locust Hydra will gain so much more value through that fight because you're taking away a lot of his DPS. So you're just going to have longer durations of Locust and Hydra going at it. And then as soon as your Locusts bleed out again or they're about to expire, just pull your Hydras back if he still has a large army there. And then you'll also pull your Viper back if they're not dead yet.
Yep.
And then it'll be fine. Like if you get really good at microing it though, you can put Vipers on like 3 or something as well, but just know that if you want to break him even harder and you have a fucking ridiculous bank, you could totally do that to do it even better.
I would like to start adding Vipers because I do feel like this spellcasters are really strong.
Yeah, they are. They're super good. I love spellcasters.
Yeah. I don't use them just because I figured.
It's just it's something
I haven't used them yet.
It's something harder to micro, and I would say Viper would be harder to micro if you weren't going to go Swarmmost, because you have to engage with Viper, But if you're engaging with Swarmhost, it makes Vipers 10 times easier to use because the Locusts are the ones taking the hits instead of the Viper.
Yeah, no, Locusts is, even when if they're flying, they're taking priority over the Vipers.
Not necessarily that.
Okay.
But the Locusts are going to be what engages for you. So like
Yep.
you're not going to be walking into a blind area with your Viper. You should not be.
No. Yeah.
Also, another thing you could do too, just to throw it out there, this is a good tip for like all levels of gameplay here. Make a couple overseers with your Hydras, just so you can always not get fucked over by cloaked things. But always throw in, before you're going to send your Hydras in, if you can help it, try to throw in a few changelings into his base, or just periodically do that, so you can see how, if you engage a certain way, how you can fuck him over even harder. Like for instance, if you see he's super well defended at his third base because of a changeling, and you just hit his natural, and he's like even furthermore over defending his third base, and his natural is super undefended, well then maybe turn your, like if your Locusts are halfway going back to the third again because you just hit the natural, maybe turn them back around and go back to the natural.
And go back.
Give yourself.
He might know the left, right, and
Yeah.
just expect.
Just give yourself information by going, what looks like it could be abused right now with my changelings.
Yeah.
So get in the habit of doing that, because it'll always allow you to know where you want to engage, and that's a big deal. It's about not wasting time.
Now, do you think that's better to put on a like a follow, or put that in with the control group?
What, the overseer?
The overseers.
Yeah, just put it in the control group. Just leave it in the control group.
Yeah.
I would really only say it's only ever worth it to follow with an overseer if it's a broodlord, because a broodlord is so fucking slow.
Yeah. One thing I don't have in my notes is the time. So I'm going safety roaches, and the time to drop the Hydra infestation, that's 6 minutes, the same as
roughly, yeah, 6 minutes. Yep. The reason why it's roughly around 6 minutes is because at 5 minutes is when you're going to be starting your transition of whatever it might be. You might be finishing off your drones there, or you might be switching your production into defense if you're going to get all in. But 6 minutes is, generally speaking, by that point, if you're playing efficiently, you should now have all your gases saturated, all your 3 mineral lines in your bases saturated, your 4th and your macro hatch should be started, and after you have all of that, that is when you start your future tech. So around 6 minutes would be perfect.
Versus mech, what I been doing, unless I haven't been, if I'm not playing Lingbane, I shouldn't say just if mech. If I haven't been playing Lingbane, I usually double expand at that point instead of making the macro hatch. So I take a
macro hatch. I highly recommend you make a macro hatch.
Just make a macro hatch.
The reason you're going to take I want you to take your 5th base when you have 8 minutes in the game. Well, it's around the time when your main base is going to mine out. And the problem of why I say you should why you should macro hatch instead of expand twice is because if you expand twice, you're exposing your base even more overall. And I feel like that incentivizes you to have weaker creep spread, when your creep spread should be what gives you map vision anyways. And if you have your queens more centralized and your bases to defend, it makes it faster to inject. It makes everything just defensively easier. But when you spread yourself out too far, too wide, too fast, it makes it harder to defend everything and also inject everything as fast.
Yeah.
So you're going to take a 5th anyways, or in 8 minutes, and you're taking your macro hatch at 6 minutes, so it's not that much of a difference. But that early game setup makes a big difference. And the last thing you want is to have one of your macro hatch essentially at an exposed 6th base or 5th base or whatever, and then it gets attacked early and you overcommit to a fight you should not be overcommitting to. Because, for instance, what if he attacks your hatchery and you go, oh, I got to defend that. I don't want to lose it. But what if it's creep only? And you're like, okay, he's over there. I have a little bit of time to react to this. It's different mindset.
I've been engaging. Just recently, I've been getting overexcited. Yeah, and it's something I got to stop doing.
Yeah.
Like the siege tanks outside of range of the hatchery.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, they're right outside the range of the hatch with the first push. Like the 2 siege tank marine push. And like, I'm trying to jump on them. And it's like I should have waited for the extra round of lings. Or the Banes to finish morphing.
But that's that mindset where if you take a double fucking expand, that's the kind of shit it'll reinforce where you overcommit to fights where you shouldn't be.
Yep. Okay. And now, late game with the Hydra, is it worth keeping trade? Is it worth keeping the roaches or just trade them out?
No,
Like say
like keep
just
them.
keeping them
Like
for
don't just throw them away. I would say unless you're like already maxed out, then you can throw them away. But if you're on your way to maxing out, just let them be. Like let them be part of your army until they either die naturally or whatever. But if you're in that stage where it's like Hydra Locust pushes repeatedly and you're like, I have 3,000 minerals and I'm maxed and I have 12 roaches still, at that point, yeah, totally, you can just throw them away. That's not a big
just throw
deal.
'em out.
And you can replace that with like Viper even or something.
And is static D better for someone? I mean, I could imagine someone thinking this is a slow army.
Just make static D no matter
annoying.
what. Make static D no matter what. Make it a thing you do every game, and make it when you have like a maxed army.
Okay, so 200 supply.
We're talking
So
like
my
spines
first-
and stuff. Like spores,
spine,
spores
everything.
obviously if you go starport early, if you need it. Like if there's like BCs, don't skip spores. But like for like late game, like spore spine defense at every base, make that once you're maxed out, and and then you can remax again on drones once you use the drones to make the D.
Yeah.
That way you can help alleviate problems of like while you do an attack on his base, if he randomly ran 4 Hellions across the map, well you had 2 spines at that base that he attacked, and you look at it and maybe only like 5 drones died instead of your entire mineral line, and your hatchery also died to Hellbats.
Yeah. Which happens.
Yeah, so that would just make your life easier.
Yep. All right.
All right,
And
man.
excellent.
So like I'll let's do a couple more questions and then I'll probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was just saying because we're a little over, but I want you to know.
Yeah, no,
I want
of
you to
course.
get as much information as you can. It's just that I don't want to go for like too long.
Of course. I'm feeling good. I mean, we kind of did this. This was the exact same thing we kind of did last time with Protoss, and that helped a lot.
Yeah.
And,
I'll give you a quick little information bit for Protoss as well. A lot of the things I said to you make sense as well for against Protoss too. Just know if a Protoss, that big one is the third base, okay? If a Protoss player is taking their third base around 4 minutes or less, like we're talking 3:30 to 4 minutes, that is a greedy fucking Protoss player, and you can react to that with aggression or greed yourself. If a Protoss player is taking a third around 4:30 to 4:45, like anywhere between 4:30 and 5 minutes, that is a standard Protoss player, and you should be expecting harass, but not an all-in. If a Protoss player is not taking a third by beyond 5 minutes, you should be getting ready to defend an all-in. So at 5 minutes, if you have not seen a third yet, you probably, like if you definitely get your scout into his base and see what's really going on. But at that point, I would say you should probably be going up to like 4 gases and just going mass roaches. And maybe if you don't have enough gas to make all your larvae into roach, add on some zerglings.
now that 3:34 minutes, if I'm not set up to punish him, like what's the best way to punish? Like in that early stage, is it just?
I would say just react to it with
ground and
greed.
injects?
Just react to it with greed every time, because
Okay.
the only way you can punish it is if you scout it like right away, and then that's right around the time. It's right around the time when your speed's going to be done, and you would make a speedling flood, and you would fuck him over for trying to defend it. Like you would deny his third, and anything that tried to defend it would die as well. That's how you punish it.
I always leave 2 lings between his net and third in toss games. So like I have a good, I can sometimes pick off the probe or
the
it down.
reason why I would say you should probably make drones though is because you actually fuck yourself over even if you kill his third and his units if you over make lings. You have to know when to stop as well.
Yep.
But if you just react to it by just going, oh cool, you go for a third at 3:30. How about now? I make I can still scout you for your tech. I make safety units only, like how how you make like safety lings when you have speed. It's like that. No matter whatever you're making, you just make safety units. Little bits of units just keep yourself safe while you drone, and you literally drone all the way to like 80 drones on 4 bases.
If you see a toss taken 3:30,
like a super fast third, it means that they're gonna have nothing aggressive, and if they do, it's like 1 Stargate.
Yeah, 1 void ray coming across. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean that's a part of the toss like on void rays now and everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
gotten good to
you can just
practice
make,
against it with the queens.
yeah, you can just make,
Yeah.
honestly, you can just make more queens. Add more queens to your
Yep.
style if they go voids, and you're just fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vaughn. That was excellent.
Yeah, man. We'll
I got
talk
a
again.
lot of good information.
Make sure you save the replay and just watch the checkpoints. That way you can always compare
Oh
yourself
yeah.
to, like, make sure you're like, just so you know, always the thing I always tell everybody is, you might feel like you're doing it, but you might not really be doing it. But if you compare timers, you actually get to see if you really are doing it. And if you
Yeah.
actually perfect those timers or like get closer and closer to what they really are, you'll feel so
Yeah.
strong.
So okay. So the one final question. So we got the 6 minute benchmark of 3-day set, right? How many queens do you want at that time too? What do you
That's
say?
7 minimum. 7 is
So
standard.
7
More if
min.
you think you need more, but that's off your
Okay, and that's
scouting.
at the 6 minute mark.
Yeah, I would recommend making more if he does starport pressure. Like make 9 if he goes banshees or liberators or whatever.
Yep.
Make maybe 9, maybe even 11 if he goes like BC. Uh, 9 would still be good for BC. It's fine, but just
Dude,
the reason
dude,
why 11's good against starport opener, especially BC style opener, is because he doesn't have to stop at 1. If he makes 2
yeah,
BCs,
no.
you'll be glad you made 11.
Yeah. Okay. Go maybe. Yeah. And then for lib, are you opposed to what's your thought on the spore in like the lib position? Like it, I see him going lib Hellion.
If you want to make spores because you see a starport, no matter what, if it's like 1-1-1, and you want to
Yeah.
throw spores down at like 4:30, I'll say that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, when I have done spores against the lid pressure, because I don't know whether it's just because 2 attacks are going on simultaneously, and I'm not trained to look at the mini map that I only get the one alert,
Uh-huh.
and it's always the Hellions that I pay attention to, and then I realize half my mineral line's gone.
Yeah.
My main.
I got you. Yeah, no, spores at like 4:30 if you really want to do that is fine.
Yeah.
I do think though you will have to get in the habit though of queens should be what kills the liberator, not defends
Yeah.
the Hellions at that point in the game, because at that point in the game, if that's what he's doing and you scout that, if you scout, oh, this guy's got heavy fucking Hellion production with a liberator, you could
Yeah.
totally get away with making more links, like if you think you need to, or at that point you
Yeah.
could have roaches if you went for an earlier roach horn if you saw what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's also when it comes down to how well you micro. Like, for instance, don't be that guy. Like, you could be that guy for now, because we're talking diamond right now, but eventually, what you're going to want to do is if you know he's going to do a Hellion attack, maybe have your units on both sides where you know he's going to engage, and then when he does engage, you surround him immediately rather than just run at him from one angle.
I've been setting that up recently. Like I pre-split the links behind the queens.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It makes your engage so much better.
Now, so maybe is it worth pulling the queens away from the hatches when if I know, say I know it's a lid pressure and I'm not going to spore, is it worth pulling the queen, like inject, pull away? You think, or is that
wait? What?
kinda,
Say that. Isn't it worth injecting and pulling away to kill a liberator?
So yeah, well, okay. So like, I get occupied on the Hellion fight.
Uh-huh.
Is it worth? I know a lib's coming. Like I saw
Yeah.
the lib with my overlord.
Yeah.
I know a lib's coming. Is it worth just like having the queen not within range of the hatch, but like so I inject and then.
Oh no,
kinda,
I think you
click
should. Your queen should be next to the hatchery, the whole time. Like injecting the majority of the time. Don't like have it just waiting there, waiting on the side of your base for it.
Yeah. I mean, just like off to the right side of the mineral patch. So if he comes and
just to try, just inject, and if you know the liberator's coming, just try to keep tab on that. Like keep a mental tab on that, like a mental note that it's coming, and then just as soon as it's going to arrive, because you don't know where he's going to put the circle is the thing. Like you could put it on your queen no matter where it is, and as soon as you see him put a circle down, go on the side of it always and kills the liberator. Yeah. And then if the liberator, the only way a liberator can have a circle that will kill your queen no matter what, is if the circle's too far away from the inner line to hit the drones, because it's going to zone the queen. Then just try not to engage it, and that's when you can use your spore.
And now, what's the more important engagement? Do you think?
The
So if I
Hellions
had
are
to
more
spend
important.
time with
Hellions
one,
are definitely more important. If you really have to do it, just fucking
yeah.
run your drones away for a second, and then deal with the Hellions, and then go back and deal with the Liberator.
Okay.
The Liberator is going to kill 1, 2, 3,
3.
4.
Yeah.
Hellions are going to kill 4, 8, 12,
Yeah.
16. Like, they're going to
Yeah.
kill fucking multiple at once.
Oh, but like if I had the Hellion all set up, like so the queens are pushing, and then I have the link spread behind it, is that safe to go?
Just keep in mind, too, you don't have to have all your queens always kill the Liberator. If you really want to have your queens defend the Hellions, the creep spreaders, your one queen defending the Liberator in your main base can deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And still, even that point, the thing that takes priority is the Hellions. You should be able to handle the Hellions, like, because the thing is, when the Hellions engage, the fight's going to end, or it's going to begin as fast as it ends. Like, as soon as he engages, if you get a surround, it's over. But the Liberator is going to be a fight that's a little bit more drawn out, because you can't surround it. It can, if it's either it dies or it doesn't, and it depends where he puts it as to how much damage he's going to take it over time. But yeah, it's as long as you don't just disregard it and be like, oh, I just lost 12 drones to a Liberator over the last 15 to 20 seconds. Like, obviously that sucks. But yeah, just make the Hellions are always a priority here. They kill drones way faster.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, ViBE. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, man. I hope it helps, and good luck. And like I said, we'll talk again, and we'll reconvene.
Keep track of the replays and the progress. So.
All right, dude. Take it easy. Much love.
Hey.
Ah, Jesus, sorry.
Right back at you, ViBE.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, have a good stream, my man.
Yeah, have a good night. Thanks, man.
Thank you, ViBE.
All right, see you, dude. All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with Mr. Wookie. I'll call it Wookie example. And people are asking me to put this in Discord, and I'll put it in Discord. That's fine. So anyone who's watching this right now for the VOD, that replay that I just saved, it'll be in my. If you just go to my Discord and just like control find Wookie replay or Wookie example,
Yeah.
that'll be in my replay. What channel? Replay pack. I'll put it in my replay. No, replay analysis is where it'll be. Replay analysis. I'll put it there. It'll be in the replay analysis channel. So you can just control F, find it if whatever time of day you're watching this. If you're watching this at a future date, like months from when I made this video, there's a good chance that this will be out of patch. It'll be out of date. But as for people right now, there was a patch literally today. So you guys will have it right now. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, go check out more videos if you were looking for more information. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. So until then, good luck. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace. See ya.